And she's here to talk to us about financing and how to get in touch with your inner bookkeeper. So she is, what is your title, first of all, Jocelyne?
I'm an accountant, but I am a business finance educator. So I teach business finance.
Okay, and how do you do that?
Well, so what happened is that I was working with business owner, and I realized that most of business owner are passionate about something or good at something, and they start a business, but most of the time they struggle with the back end of their business. Like they have no clue about the bookkeeping, paperwork, how it works, and they struggle. So when I saw that, then I started a business with education. So if someone just started a business, then I have a program where they can learn the GST, PST, HST, bookkeeping, tax installment, how to read their financial statement, and like just like learning how to do a car or to drive a car, right? You can just go and try both. You can take a driver's license. It's the same principle.
So they get to after working with you, they get to understand how to the importance of paying their taxes maybe on a monthly or quarterly basis, remitting their GST regularly,
doing their bookkeeping, like what paperwork is important to keep or not. And if they want to do their bookkeeping, I teach them how to do their bookkeeping. If they don't want to do it, then I teach them how to prep efficiently so they have everything on a silver plate. And when they go to their bookkeeper, they have saved time, the bookkeeper save time, and therefore they save money.
Right. So what they're doing is they're getting everything ready so that when the bookkeeper accesses all the data, it's all organized ahead of time.
Yeah.
So do you use a special program, or do you use something like I don't know, Excel?
So some people use QuickBooks and they don't know how to use it. I'm going to teach them QuickBooks. But my ideal client is like the shoebox people, the people that would just gather all the receipts all year round, and then they freak out because it's tax time. For these people, they don't need like a sophisticated software or whatever. So I built a bookkeeping software in Excel. So it's easy, it's left and right, revenue and expense. And then in the background, there are a lot of formulas, which are all locks. They cannot destroy it, but it just build their financial statement, like an income statement to get their tax ready. And there's also a tab where it just show them like month to date, year to date, where they're at with the revenue and expense, and help them to manage better their money and their things for their business.
So how much do you charge for something like that? Or does it depend on how big the corporation or the entrepreneur's business is, or is there any relation?
When it's for the Excel spreadsheet, the system is $350, and they can use it forever. Like compared to, let's say they were using QuickBooks, it would be like $15-20 a month, but it's gonna be every month from now on, right? So with the spreadsheets, it's $350, but then they can use it year after year after year, and it's customized for them. So if I sell it to, let's say, a real estate agent, which has been a lot of people buying this from me, I guess they are the shoebox people. Or if I sell it to a cleaning lady or to a car wash person, like this is all the type of people that have been buying the spreadsheet from me. They don't have the same expense category, so I customize it for them. And then we customize also their revenue, like because revenue is revenue, right? But when you categorize the revenue, you can analyze and see where your money is made. Like, is it more from my coaching, from my online course, is it from my workshop? So that way people like the 80-20 rule, right? Like most of people make the most money from one thing but spend more time on the other things, right? So
right,
it's just a better way to manage, right?
So one reason, I mean, I know the government said that they were deferring taxes. Are you finding people are deferring preparation, or because they have time, or are they actually doing it now?
Most people are looking into it now because they have time. I don't suggest to postpone. We can postpone the payment, which okay, we are allowed to pay just at the end of August. Why not, right? But I recommend people to do it now for many reasons. First of all is that until we do the tax return, we don't know if you get a refund or you have to pay. So if you get a refund, why not putting it now? Because people can use the money right now.
Yeah.
And then second, but good reason would be some people have kids and the government is going to be helping with more money for kids, right? Or for the GST rebate that has nothing to do with business. And all this help will come if you do your tax return. So we should not wait to do the tax return. If you owe money, then we can just wait to pay at the deadline.
Right.
But there's no reason for waiting to do the tax return right now.
Better to plan ahead now and at least know where you stand so you're not
Exactly.
shocked.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So do you find people have different money sort of relationships? Some people are very money conscious. Other people, they're like hoarders. Other people are spenders. Is there personality types around money? I don't know about this sort of thing.
That's funny because I had this discussion this morning with my husband. Most Canadian people are overspending. They spend more than they earn, and they are like $200 close to bankruptcy. So with a tough time like this, it's like tough. Like people are very, very stressed because they don't have any money laying around and everything. And right now, I'm helping a lot of people that are from other countries that immigrated here, that now they're permanent resident or citizen. And these people, I had a discussion yesterday actually with a client. She's from France, and she said, you know that in France, we don't have the credit card that we have here. And I'm like, no, because I'm French Canadian. I'm from Quebec, so I don't know about that. So apparently in France, the credit card that they have is like a debit card here. So they cannot overspend. It's not money that is lended to them. It's money that they have in their bank account. So the culture is totally different. They used to have the money differently. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And all the people that I work that are from other of the country, they have money aside. They are like, managing their money really well, right? So I was like chatting about that with my husband this morning. I'm like, this is the legacy that I want to leave. I want to change that around. Like money is something that can be learned, and it's just managing it can be learned, like how to drive a car, how to, everything can be learned. Yeah. But it's just hard sometimes when you're just too far away from you to come back. But it can be done. I know a lot of people that came out of that and learned how to manage money, and now like they are saving, and it can be done, right? So
when I taught high school, I used to teach an entrepreneurship program. It was one of the last courses that I taught. And
nice.
Yeah, it's funny because I asked the bank to come and teach about how people treat their money. It's a tool, right? And it's interesting they didn't have any programs, which I think is totally necessary, especially now for getting the tools together for then when you're older, so that you're handling money responsibly. Because what I see in real estate as an agent is there are some people who make really good small financial decisions consistently, and then they end up with a lot of money, and other people make small decisions that are bad for them, and they do stuff like take money out of their house, and they borrow against themselves, and then what happens is they end up with nothing. So really,
like it's Starbucks a day, like after 5 years, like it's 10 grand, right? So it's huge, and it doesn't seem that huge today. Like, do I have a Starbucks or not, right?
Yeah.
But it just makes a difference long term. And I'm following this mentor, and he said, like, if you knew that if you had that Big Mac today that you would put 50 pounds right now on, would you eat it right now? No, but it's just because everything is long term, right? So that's the same thing. Like, you pay a little something here, but it just adds up, and then it's a disaster after.
Yeah, actually, it's been really instructive for me to be at home so much, because I realize how much I just drop in buy little things on and off, and I'm looking away because I'm feeling guilty. But I should.
One thing is,
Yeah, go ahead.
that is good right now because people have time, like they can find money easy, is just to look at your credit card statement, look at your bank statement, and look at all those recurring transactions that we subscribe over time, and finally we don't even use something, but we forget about it because it's just automatic, right? So it's so easy right now to look at this and say, oh, like that iTunes at $16. Like, do I listen to music that much? Like, can I just listen to it on YouTube instead and just saving that money, right? Sometimes it's just like your cell phone. Like, my cell phone has been out of a contract for 3 years now, and I haven't renewed or whatever. So can I just take the time right now to just call people and say, hey, do you have a deal right now? And maybe just switch provider just to save on money. So there's a lot of time right now on some people's plates. So it's just time to maybe look at this. And or even I was seeing that you were decluttering your basement. Yeah, so why not just selling stuff that we don't use and gain that little bit of money, right? So there's just ways to find like either personal life or business expense, like just looking at what we're doing and be conscious and just try to shape a little bit of what we're spending, right?
Yeah. Well, I think the biggest expense for us is because our kids are involved in extracurricular activities that they often come away from that activity hungry. And so we're saving like a lot of money every day, actually.
Wow.
Probably $20 or $30 just on food because
wow.
Yeah. It's
so see, that's a learning that maybe next time you'll pack a little bit of snack, and then when they come back, then they can snack on it, right? It just like I feel that like everything happened for a reason, and I always feel that there's always something positive in everything negative that happens to us. I don't know, but I feel that life is going to be so much different and so much better.
Yeah, me too.
After all what's happening now.
How is your community right now? How's it doing?
Well, like, what do you mean? Like my networking,
No, where you live in terms of like.
Oh, I live in Nanaimo, and I stay home, and we kind of live a little bit in the bush. So I try to not go anywhere. So I'm staying home. Like I went grocery shopping 2 weeks ago, which I'm gonna have to go again very soon. But I stay home. I don't even do anything. So everything is like online right now. Like I'm seeing a lot of people and doing a lot of networking, meeting one-on-one, but everything is online. And yeah.
Actually, so I was going to ask that. So what I was going to say is what is happening with taxes and stuff, but what's also happening with your business? How are you finding it's affecting your business?
So there are two folds with my business. One is like tax time, which I do once a year for a month or two that I'm head down doing tax. And the other part, the rest of the year, like is all education and helping people creating system to save time and money. That's the main goal of what I do. And right now, tax time, we are right in the middle of it, right? So and I have a lot of recurring customers, so that hasn't changed. Like people are just say, oh, are you ready for my tax now? And I'm getting like a few clients extra every year. So I got like 6 new clients that I'm gonna take on tax that I never had before. So just today. So like tax time, it's really busy. But on my other business, though, people are a little bit on hold because like if they are to pay, I don't know, $1,500 to work with me on creating things, they are like, oh, I'm just gonna wait to see if the bank is gonna just postpone my mortgage. I'm gonna wait because it's kind of sad because they have time right now to put in place new things that down the road will save them so much time and so much money.
Yeah.
So it's time to do it now. But because it's so uncertain that like, they are like, okay, let me just check. Like, give me a week or two to check with my bank and everything. So on this side of the business, everything is on hold.
Right. Okay, I'm just reading. Somebody wrote here, hi, Jane. A wise person once told me when it comes to increasing your wealth, it doesn't matter how much you earn. What matters is how much you spend. So true. I have clients who I met, who I helped buy a house 5 years ago. They're looking at selling and repurchasing, and they have paid off their mortgage.
Wow.
Awesome.
So I was just reading a book not so long ago, and it says there is just one difference between the rich and the poor. The rich is going to save money up front from their paycheck and then spend the rest. And the poor is just going to spend everything and save money if there's something left. But I can spend so much money if I want to. So if I was doing it this way, I would never save money because I would just always find something to spend, right? So
do you recommend that people put aside, like when I got into real estate, they recommended we put aside a certain amount every month for our GST, and a lot of realtors, believe it or not, a lot of realtors are on that edge that you were talking about between, bankruptcy, because probably 10% of the realtors do 90% of the business. And then if you look at in Victoria, we have 1,300 realtors. We have on average 600 transactions a month. So we're looking at, some people not doing a transaction a month. So and when they get paid, because we get paid in a lump sum at the end of the transaction, we often, are kind of like, I remember when I first got into real estate, it was like, I have to pay off these bills. So they can build up. And so what do you recommend for somebody who is running their own business? Should they put themselves on a salary so that they have a steady income and they learn to live below their means? What
I recommend is that first of all is open a second account and call it your GST account. And when the client is paying you and pays you that GST, put that aside. It's not your money. You're just getting that money to collect on behalf of the government. So if you put that aside, that it's not your money, then at least you're not stuck that at the end you cannot remit it. Because these are the worst penalties of the government. And when you collect the payroll money and the GST money, because it's not your money, it's the money on the, this is where they charge the penalty and interest. So that you just save that money. And then so that's what it is. Like, entrepreneur never went to business school, and then when you start working in life as an employee, you're getting a paycheck, you're getting the net. Like, the employer is saving all the tax and send this on your behalf to the government. But when you become an entrepreneur, you get the whole money. And then you don't realize that this is not net money. You don't realize that until you do your taxes and like, oh my God, I owe 30 grand in taxes. What am I going to do? And that's if they do the tax right away. I'm helping some people that haven't been doing their tax for 6-7 years right now.
Oh my God.
It's exponential, right? And there's no way to survive, like to get out of this. Like there's ways, but it's huge, right? And unfortunately, bankruptcy doesn't avoid the tax bill. So you need to face the government and just do what you have to do and pay, right? So my first tip is that if you're an entrepreneur, the money you get, put the GST aside, but also put 30% aside for your taxes. And most of the time, it's not going to be 30% that you will have to pay. But if it's 25, then you have a little 5% that is just a little bit of saving that you have been putting aside, right? And if you pay just 10% because you had a lot of expense, then there's a 20% that you can enjoy, right? So if you put that money aside, because the reality is, if you earn $1,000, you'll spend $1,000. If you earn $20,000, you'll spend $20,000.
Right.
Like, I've been dealing with clients that make like $500,000 a year, and these people are more poor than I am.
Right.
So it's just because the more they earn, the more they spend, right?
Right.
So just put that money aside up front, and then just deal with the rest. And the rest is what it is. There's no more.
Right.
You know, like right now, if people don't have money, they don't have money. What can they do? But you always find ways with things, right? So if you put that money aside and you don't touch it, and then it's like if it's not there, then you just deal with the rest and you find ways to do things.
So I'm just putting, first of all, I have some comments here. Thank goodness I always put away my GST and income tax every commission check. Good for you, Carol. Awesome.
Oh, good job, Carol.
And Yana's saying, I have a GST account and a savings account. It is important to not only put aside the GST, but also money for taxes. So I'm going to show you, this is what a realtor earns. So if there's $1,000, 30% goes to taxes, 5% goes to GST, which is, I probably put a little bit more. So let's say 40%. Then the brokerage fee comes off of that. And then there's leftover income. So often we, in real estate, we get people saying, you earn some money. Well, probably at the end, it's like on a $10,000 income, probably my take home is $2,500 at the end of the day, after all the expenses and everything, and the brokerage and the taxes. So, you
don't sell one home every day, right? So it's not like that 2,500, like it can take sometimes 1 month, sometimes 2 weeks, sometimes 3 months. It just depends, right?
Yeah. So it really is. So what I started doing from the very beginning was what you're talking about, is pay myself after I put away the money. But the first year, so this is probably the third year that I was in real estate, I made $300,000, and I was so happy, and I thought, okay, we could go away and whatever. And I wasn't incorporated, and somebody's mentioning not to mention marketing cards and signs. Anyway, at the end of the day, I think I had saved up $100,000, and guess what my income tax bill was? $100,000.
Exactly, right.
And I bawled my eyes out. And the next year, I just thought, of all the time that I have spent on this job, and to pay it all away, it just made me bawl. And I decided next year I was just not going to work as hard, because I needed to spend more time with my family. And really, to me, having somebody like you in your toolbox is totally necessary, because I can only do what I can do. And so everything that I can't do, I think I should be giving away to somebody else to do. So somebody like you, or my assistant, if she could, like, I'm interested in knowing more about your system, because now my assistant can help me perhaps get everything in order.
Well, I totally believe that people should be in their genius zone. Like this is exactly what you're saying. But in my opinion, people should know about it.
Yes.
Like someone start a business, and let's say they are a landscaper. Well, they are a good landscaper and everything, and then they just have a bookkeeper and have an accountant and work for them. That's great. But the mistake that I've been seeing is that because these people don't make the time to learn and understand, what's happening is that too many people call themselves good bookkeeper. And I have been working in so many files that one file out of 7 was well done.
Oh.
So what's happening with that business owner that don't know things and rely on that bookkeeper to do the work? And then what's happening is that they realize like a year down the road that the work wasn't done properly. And they learn because like they get fined by the government, they get penalties and everything. And now they have to pay again to redo. Like how many people back before when I was doing bookkeeping, so many people hired me because they had a bad bookkeeper and they paid a lot of money, and then they had penalties, and I had to do the work all over again, and they paid me again. So if they only knew things
from the beginning,
it wouldn't happen. It wouldn't. Yeah. So that's why I'm so passionate about teaching. Like people need to know. They don't have to do it forever, but they need to know how it works. And then, don't do something that you can pay someone like $20 to $50 an hour if you can earn $100 an hour. But at least know how it works. And then if you see things happening your way, then you can turn around and manage properly after, right?
What do you find?
It's all about knowledge.
What do you find is one expense people think they have, they maybe overestimate? I'm thinking it's car expenses for the entrepreneur, where they think, oh yeah, I can claim 9% or whatever. what do you find is the biggest mistake people make in terms
That
of?
they claim too much, you mean?
Yeah.
A lot of cell phone, because the CRA are very tough on cell phone, because most of people like take 100% for my cell phone, but there's a year that they were audited many people about cell phone. Like cell phone has to go with the percentage of usage, right? Like if you only have one cell phone and you take personal call and business call, like you need to go with a percentage that is, because you're always guilty until you prove you're not. So you will have to show whatever you have to show that you've been using this for business 100% or whatever, right? So cell phone are the things that are very like the people claim too much, and it's not only their cell phone. Now they have their husband and they have their kids, and now they like $400 bill, and they think that they can put everything on. It's like, come on, it's your line, and it's a percentage of your line that you can take, right?
Right.
Car as well. That's things. Like home, I would say that it's mixed. A lot of people don't claim enough of what they could for their home-based office, but the people that claim as often, they say, oh, 25%, right? It's just like, no, it doesn't work that way. Some people say, oh, I use my bathroom, I use my kitchen, and I use my office. I use all of this. Yeah, but if you do, like, you need to calculate the time that you use it for personal and the time that you use it for business. Let's say a daycare, right? They might use their kitchen and everything, but it goes down to the time of the day. Do you have your daycare for 8 hours and there's 24 hours in a day, right? So either people don't claim enough that part, or people like try to claim everything, right? But
I've always just done it based on square footage. Like it's 10% of my house, my office.
It just depends.
Yeah.
It's on square footage. If you are using that, like, let's say the house I was living before, I had one room and it's only my office. If I don't work, I'm not in that room at all. So that is the square footage, right? But if it's a room that I have, like, half of it is my bed and half of it is my work, then you cannot take the square footage. You need to take the number of hours in the day, right? So if it's a shared space, right?
Okay.
So it just depends.
Okay, so how do we get in touch with you, and what's the best way of all these methods? By the way, MJ Ankerman says hello. Mary Jane, do you know her? From Vancouver.
Yes, I know her. Of course, yes, she's my friend.
So we grew up around the corner from each other in Toronto. She lived on Courtly Crescent, and I lived on Courtly Boulevard. So there you go.
Oh, nice.
MJ.
What did you say?
I love finding out that people I know one another.
Oh, yeah, nice. Awesome. So before I say how to reach me, I have something that I was just thinking that I would like to share is about, because some people claim way too many expense, right? And I'm like, they are like, oh, I don't want to pay taxes. So, well, but then after that, they turn around and they complain and say, oh, it's so expensive to live in BC. I don't have any money to pay. I need to move or whatever, right? But it's just like, if you just don't pay taxes, that, like, because you cannot make enough money or because you claim everything, it's just like, if you pay taxes, that's a good sign you're successful. See, when you paid your 100 grand in taxes, that means that you were successful, right? You made a lot of money, so you pay a lot of money. And then people come here with, like, school, with the road, with everything, and they just expect the government just to step in and pay everything. But if you don't pay taxes, how can you be supported? Like, it goes both ways, right? Like, with what's happening right now, like, everyone is happy that the government is stepping in and helping, right? But who will have to pay? We will all have to pay. Like, and if we don't pay taxes, if we claim stuff that we are not allowed to, like we're just shooting ourselves in the foot, right?
Yeah.
So it's a mindset thing. Like, we just need to be careful with, like, I always say, like, claim, like, if you were the other side of things, like, if I'm the government and you are the person, like, would I be happy that what you all claim and do? Like, just be fair, right? Just turn it around like if it was yourself, right?
Yeah.
So
actually, it's a good point about that. Is I find a very important feature, if anybody runs an Airbnb out of their house, is just to realize that that portion of the Airbnb in your house will likely be taxed for GST when you go to sell your home. So you really have to be careful. Don't get sucked into having an Airbnb, have a longer term rental. You do not then have to, because you're not running it as a business, you do not have to claim it as a GST. So could be a big deal in the future.
And it could be a big deal also with if they take amortization, because when they sell, they could have to repay back that, right? So, and capital gain on the house as well, because now it's not just personal use, right? So there's a lot of implication that if you don't know, you think you're doing great, but then at the end, like, it's like, oh, if I only knew, right? So anyway, to answer your question, the best way to reach me is by my website and my email. So my website is jjcostkeeping.com, which is my business. And see, I called it cost keeping because it's not about how you make, it's about
people show up for this particular topic, yeah, and to interact. So I really appreciate you guys. Carol is also in Nanaimo. She says, agreed on mindset and never mind paying taxes, as we live in a great country that takes care of us. So,
wow.
Anyway.
You get a good audience. I love the comment. That's amazing. Good people, eh?
Yeah.
Good people that attract good people.
Thank you. So thank you so much, Jocelyne, for coming and being on my show today. If you guys want more information, contact Jocelyne at her website. We'll put it down under the event on my Facebook page. You can also listen to us if you want to come back. We're going to be on Spreaker and any of your podcasts that you're interested in, and we're going to be on the Vancouver Island Time website, so as well as our Facebook page. So thank you, Yana. Thank you, Jocelyne. Thank you, Carol. Thank you, MJ. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. Tomorrow, we're going to have a really cool guest. His name is Castro Botang, and he runs the House of Botang, which is a restaurant. He has adapted his business to cope with COVID. And then on Friday, we're going to be talking with Jennifer Lowe. She's going to be not the actress and singer. She's a mortgage broker, and she's going to be talking about what to do about your mortgage during COVID-19. So thank you so much. I appreciate you. And I'm glad we could figure out, we had to do a workaround. So she's been talking on my phone. Okay, take care and stay on the line.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.